What I've realized through having been forced to deal with a room that I'm still a little confused by is that when we focus on simplifying that room, when we take out the possibility of clutter from this space that is already kind of a little up in the air, still might not love the look of it, the aesthetic might not be my thing, but I can then really appreciate the function of the space. And I think that is so important as we think about the purpose of minimalism, the purpose of decluttering our homes and simplifying our spaces, is that even when we don't really like the way things look, we can really appreciate the way they work. So if you're here, then you know that we are looking at my kitchen today. And I don't usually show a lot of my kitchen because I don't really like the way my kitchen looks, honestly. But I've realized that through some thoughtful decluttering, following some of the principles of minimalism, I have come to find some real beauty in this space. And I realized that that's like the whole point of this channel, is figuring out how to use minimalism and decluttering and simplifying to create a space and a life that we feel good about. And what that means is I gotta show you my kitchen. My name is Candace and welcome to Our Simplified Home, but more specifically, welcome to Our Simplified Kitchen. For the most part, yes, the kitchen is fine. Everything in here works. I feel safe when I'm in here. A lot of blessings come from this room. And my baby's here. We both like this kitchen. The function of this kitchen. It's just not my personal style. Green actually is my favorite color, but it's not necessarily what I would have chosen. We've started pulling some things apart and
orange.
Yep, we've started pulling some things apart, but we haven't finished dealing with it yet. We were hoping to open up this wall, but that turned out to be more complicated than we thought it would be. So in the meantime, we replaced all the appliances except for this microwave, and that's unfortunate because now they don't match. I know it's important for me to be grateful for this space, but I don't really like the way it looks. It's not my personal style. Anyway, I've noticed that sometimes when there's a spot in our homes that we don't feel great about, either we just don't like the way it looks or we're kind of confused by how we should use it, that spot sometimes becomes like a storage area or a place in our home where things can go to be dealt with later. But that makes it worse, because then the part of my home that I already feel down about is not only disappointing, but then on top of that, I've also layered confusion, stress, uncertainty. And when I look at it, it's all cluttered and disorganized and full of things that I don't know what to do with. And that stinks. I don't like when my home feels like that. Luckily, that spot for me has been the kitchen. So I've had to confront some decisions and choices that I might not have done if this space was more private or just less used by me and my family. And because of that, I was kind of forced into this learning that we consider these parts of our home that we wish we could change, that it's extra important that we keep those spots decluttered and simplified. It's important because we don't want to pile stress and confusion on top of disappointment, on top of frustration and uncertainty. Our home, even the parts that we feel not so great about, should not be a source of stress, confusion, and disappointment. So I made the promise to myself, while I figure out what do we want to do in this room, I would do my best to keep it really simple in here. And like I said in this other video that I will link somewhere in the universe, it's important to define your terms. So for me, when I say I want to keep this kitchen simple, I want to keep all of my like items in one cabinet. So all of my dishes in one cabinet. All of my pots and pans in another cabinet. All of our snacks and pantry items in one cabinet. Etc., etc., etc. We can do a full tour of all the amazing things that are behind these cabinet doors another time. But that point in limiting the amount of stuff that was in my kitchen was a very important part of defining simplicity in my kitchen. Because sometimes I find when we are starting minimalism or starting rethinking our space, we'll focus on the space that already look pretty good, already have the propensity to look great. And that's cool because that gives us some easy wins and that makes us feel successful and that keeps us going. And I think that definitely does have value. But I would also encourage you to think about those parts of your home that maybe you're confused by. Maybe you don't really feel great about them. See if doing a little bit of focused decluttering, some thoughtful simplifying might change the way you interact with that space. And you might find that that space, you might still not like the way it looks, but you can appreciate how it works for you and your family. So let me know, do you have a spot like that in your home? Is there a room that is kind of confusing to you and you're not sure what you want to do with it? I'd be curious to know what you are doing with that room now and what your plans for it are in the future. In the meantime, as usual, we will plan to meet here again in our simplified home really soon, and we can talk more about family minimalism, simplifying, all that cool stuff. Bye.